It's Joy Day. That is what Thursdays are now. So, hello, everyone. Speaking favor, we do that all the time here. And thank you for tuning in. I believe we are live. It says we are live. So, let me get this one right here. I think it is. So, again, welcome everybody, getting all the buttons where they need to be. We just speak favor over you, nothing missing, nothing broken, and be of service to others, because when you do that, the natural cycle is that then there'll be service to you. Hey, that's kind of cool. As y'all know, we have my guest, Ryder Lee, with us, and we're going to get right into what he has here in a second. I'm going to do a little selfless promotion, which is, normal. It's, we get to do that still. So they say,
do it.
Do it while you can. Yep. And if you don't use it, then you might lose it. So hello, Grandpa Brian and Nita the Mystic, everyone in the chat room. Pedro, how are you doing? From Portugal. So we're reaching all around the world, writers. So it's a good day. So everyone, good to see you tonight on artistfirst.com, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. where I am here in the Mountain West. The Steiger Perspective. Tune in. It's going to be a barn burner. All I can say is this, folks. If you live in the United States, we're in deep, deep, deep kimchi. I mean,
deep trouble. It's going to go down, Wayne.
It is what is probably not talked about, and for good reason. There's things going on right now that tune in tonight. I'll get into it. And if you live in America, you need to be very, very concerned. If you're in the rest of the world, well, you ought to be concerned too, because if it can happen to us, it can happen to you. Here's an interesting statistic. They just released the numbers of the most freest countries in the world. The United States didn't crack the top 25. In fact, the United States is now classified as a failed democracy. And the next setting from failed democracies are either socialist, communist, but yeah, the United States is number 26. We're not the freest country anymore. And tune in tonight again, and invite your friends. If you have loved ones, invite them in. The language, may get a little dicey, but we're all adults, and it is an uncensored platform. So anyway, going on, as they would say, it's just very disturbing, Ryder. And welcome. Thank you for coming back on. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Wayne. It's good to see you again, my friend. It's an honor and a privilege, like it is every time. And hello to the tribe, favor and abundance to everyone. Thanks so much for having me back on. I know it's been a minute, and I've lost my beard since my last presentation. That's how long it's taken me to finish this bad boy, but we got it. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Good. You look fabulous, man. You look 10 years younger. It's like,
when I shaved it off, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how pointy my chin was. Like, I was like looking in the mirror. I was like, what is going on? Because when you have the long beard, it makes your face look way longer.
It does.
Like, when I shaved it off, I'm like, holy crap, what is going on?
Did you feel a little naked?
Yeah. And when I got in the shower right after I shaved it, it was like, finally I could feel the water on my face. I was like, oh my God. And then you feel the wind. Like, I just put my head out the window whenever I was driving. Yeah, it was cool. It was a shock to my system, but I'll grow it out eventually. Whenever I shave my head, eventually I'll just grow out my beard. It was either my beard or my hair. So I decided on the beard. I've been holding that energy in for a really long time. I've been growing that thing since 2019. So that was like almost 3 years worth of growing that beard. So it was time to get rid of it.
Never had enough hair on my face to really get a beard. It's just not my DNA. But, it's interesting because, as you said, when you shaved it off, then it was a whole new feeling. It's like, wow, what the freak is this?
Yeah, it was like releasing the energy, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
energy stores up everywhere.
it
And
does.
that's why it's important to like move things around in your home, like, you know, shake up the energy a little bit. Like I have like a whole crystal set up over there by my TV that I try and move around and move things around your home, because that's shifting up the energy and it's breaking up all that really dense negativity or whatever it is that is holding on. So, and wash your crystals too, you know what I mean? Run some water over it, you know, and
Good idea.
get
I
rid of
like
the,
that idea.
put some salt on it or something, or put them in the, if you take a bath, like taking baths are amazing because water is an energy conductor, right? So whenever you take a bath, put your crystals in the water with you, you know, and like give them a good little rinse. Because
I like that. Yeah, or the shower. I guess the shower
yeah,
works
or the
just as
shower.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Water, and like bless your water too. Like whenever you take a shower or something, just like, you know, give gratitude to the water, because water has memory, you know. So I think that that's the whole point of like praying over your food. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you know, for God or whatever to bless your food. It's to raise the energy and the vibration of the food as you eat it.
one should be appreciative. This realm that we live in, it's dog eat dog. I mean, the sad reality is we can't exist unless we consume something that was once alive.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that the reason why the aliens, the grays, that their skin is, their frames are so small is that their skin actually takes from the atmosphere all the nutrients that the body needs.
Yeah, I think that's pretty correct. I mean,
They don't need the chakra system
yeah.
because their craniums, their spirit beings, all that energy goes into a different arena. For us, it's used for the transmutation of energy.
Well, not only that, a lot of the grays, I believe anyway, are inorganic life forms, you know, and their bodies are not like our bodies, and they were created differently. So they probably don't have to consume any kind of food or any kind of liquid to be able to survive. And then, you know, the only reason that, you know, we go to the bathroom and stuff is because we eat and we drink, you know. So if we didn't have to eat and drink, then we probably, you know, I think that would solve
I think we would be living a long time. I mean, I fast, and, fasting actually decreases the aging process in the body. It seems like it's counterintuitive, but that's what it really does. And it detoxes as well.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely does. I mean, that's a few things that I'm getting into in this presentation, you know, about our food and our water and like all that. It's all set up for us as, for lack of a better word, poison. It's to poison us. You know, like the food, the water, the air, it's all there to suppress our consciousness and, you know, poison us on a myriad of levels, you know.
I always am drawn back to the original Star Trek, the very first one with James T. Kirk. But in an episode called, I think it was called Heaven. And anyway, it was a group of young people. They commandeered the starship and to go to this place that was supposed to be Nirvana, Shangri-La. And when they got to the planet, they beamed down. And when the away party caught up with them, what they found out, they were in the Garden of Eden, or so they thought, but all the vegetation was poisonous. And they died. The moral to that story is that it's like you said, we're set up to fail, or well, I think it's to kill us. Otherwise, why the consumption? And my wife and I talk about this all the time. The water is poison. The food is poison. The ground is poison. The air is poison. And even if you become organic, you have to go to great lengths. If your food is outside, it's been exposed. So anyway, number 3, this has been an amazing journey I enjoy every time of it. People said they enjoyed your show last night with who did you have on? I saw it as it was passing by.
Penny
Penny.
Kelly.
Yeah, yes. Gather it was a good one. Apparently, people were the way to Eden. Thank you. Only someone that was out, who's really into Star Trek would know what that series. I love that.
I think that I've been working on this thing for a really long time. I kind of put it on the back burner, and I think it might have been because I had all of the information already, so there wasn't so much of an urgency behind it. But and I really didn't think that I would ever really get it done. I kind of just put it, to the side, and it wasn't until I watched some of Penny Kelly's videos, and then I was like, holy crap, like, because a lot of the things that she was talking about really confirmed what I had already written and what I had already had down. So I kind of went back and started working on it again. And I'm really glad that I did. And I feel like that I'm really completing a cycle here, honestly, and I didn't really know where this whole thing was going whenever I received the first information for the first presentation, and then got the information for the second one. I probably could have just thrown this one in with the second one, but it would have just been really, really long. So I decided to kind of split them up. But I have a lot of appreciation for you, Wayne. You were the first person that brought me on a channel as a guest when I first started my show, and you made me feel very welcomed and supported. So I have a lot of gratitude and love for you for doing that, and still bringing me on your show. It's truly an honor. And I haven't really been able to watch anyone's content lately, but dang, my friend, I've watched all of your shows this week, and it really reminded me of why I like you so much and love this channel and all your supporters. That video that you did yesterday, holy shit. You really are a true intellectual and philosopher. And I already knew that because that's the way I felt the entire time. But the consistency is what really gets me. And I mean that straight from my heart, Wayne. And I really learned something every single time I watch one of your videos. It's mind blowing. And literally all of them that I watch, you explain things in such a way that I wish I could explain it like that. It's like I'm thinking it and you're saying it. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's really how I feel, brother.
I'm honored. Man, you're gonna make me cry, man. It's like, man, I'm honored. And Ryder, you're the next generation coming up. We are now at the point, my generation, where we have to begin to think about handing the torch off to the next generation to hopefully do a better job than what we did. And there's great hope that I see in the next generation, because I can see it in you. I can see it in people like Chris Matthew over on Forbidden Knowledge News. It's telling me that at least the work we're doing now is going to continue. And I hope it continues to evolve. And so it is I who am the one that is really being enriched, because I learn from you and the insights that you provide. And again, as others, so I'm the richer dude for it, man. So it's cool. So you have the show, my friend. I'm going to let you take over. You have the screen share, and awesome. I'm just going to sit back. I do have a chair on the front row. Get the hell away from me, would you? They're trying to take my chair. You got it, buddy.
Awesome. Let me get this screen share going here. Pop this bad boy up. Let's get it rocking. Okay, so who are we? What are we doing here? Where are we from? How did we get here? Right? These are the age-old questions that I think everyone is kind of searching for and want to know. And no one seems to know because we can't remember. Right? We seem to be a species of amnesia, and so many people identify with their name, their birth date, where they're born, what city they live in, who their parents are, and what they do for a living. But that's not who we are, right? Those things are just labels and titles given to us at birth. Those things are an illusionary identity that's been given to us by our parents, by society, that we've become so attached and constantly try and prop up that a lot of us can't even begin to try and understand who and what we truly are. So welcome to the third installment of my 3-part presentation. We are the chosen, we are the fallen. A presentation by Ryder. So how and why are we a species of amnesia? If we could remember our past, then we would know who and what we are, and we wouldn't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. We have been here for thousands and thousands of years. I stated this in my first presentation and in my second presentation. We just have amnesia and don't remember. There's something that's keeping us from remembering, erasing our memories, keeping us from remembering not only our past as a species, but who and what we are. So to get a better idea of what's going on, we have to take a look at history. We know our history has been nothing but lies because academia can't even begin to perceive what happened with their limited perspectives. They got it wrong from the very start and never bothered going back and trying to fix it because that would involve a level of admission. And we know they're not ever going to take responsibility. So I'm going to be sharing my perspective of events. And I'm not saying all this is fact. It's just my perception based on what I know and the information that I have. So as I begin this, I want you to keep in mind a Bible verse right here, which is Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Just keep that in the back of your mind for now.
And people worship this.
Right. That Bible verse really tripped me out whenever I first heard it. Like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, how is not more people realize this? And they just kind of skip over that verse, you know? They're like,
It validates the fact that this creature comes from the dark.
Yep, 100%.
All right, excuse me.
No, you're fine, 100%. I like, anytime you want to stop me and ask any questions, like, feel free, because
it's good stuff, my friend.
Monologuing too much. So back thousands of years ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, a group of beings called Sirians came to the planet to create a worker class. A lot of people are aware of this. They just don't know that it was Sirians. Not for the sole intent, though, to create the worker class. They actually came for a different reason, which was for raw materials such as copper, hydrogen, and other minerals. Copper, not gold, like Zachariah Sitchin explained in his books, but because copper is a very important material for some very advanced species. Copper, when mixed together with some other materials, can produce a new set of stable elements. If you induce a high electromagnetic field at the right angle with a high nuclear radiation, it produces an overcrossing of fields. And the fusion of copper with other elements can then produce a force field of a certain nature, which then can be used as a cloaking device or weapons device.
Ryder, I want to step in here because I have this in my blood. There are those of us genetically who have more copper in our blood. And if you have both markers, you can develop, it can be sometimes a very challenging health issue, but if you only have one marker, it's one of those things where, in my case, my blood has a saturation of copper, where there's other people have lower rates. So that when I saw this, it is, in fact, people think it's gold, but there's elements like copper that are more prevalent in our body than gold. So anyway, good point.
Yes, 100%. Copper is a very highly conductive material and raw element. I think that Zachariah Sitchin just got it wrong with gold. Gold is something that, yes, they were mining as well, but copper was the main one.
If you don't have copper in your blood, you don't have blood.
100%.
I mean, that's what blood is. It's primary. That's why people, when they bite their lips or they get blood in their mouth, what they taste is copper.
100%.
Good point, buddy.
The iron and the copper. But they didn't want to bear the heavy labor of mining for raw materials, but they saw a group of dumbed down humanoid species on the planet, like we all know, which they could be used to do work for them. So they started messing with their genetics and DNA to support growth at an accelerated rate. Some of the humanoids responded well to this, and others not so much. This created a fracturing in the DNA into two separate groups, one called the ENK DNA and another called the ENL DNA. One group was very in touch interdimensionally, could communicate with other beings and other star systems, densities, planets. These beings would be the ones that high vibrational entities could incarnate into, because the physical body would be able to handle it without spontaneously combusting. This is what the Sumerian tablets were talking about when they said kingship being lowered from heaven, like mentioned in the Luma El-Lish and the Sumerians' kings list. It wasn't a physical being coming down from the sky to rule, but it was a physical incarnation of a very high vibrational being from a different planet or density. The other group, not so much. They didn't possess any of these qualities organically. And instead of trying to figure it out and work on themselves, they started worshiping the ones that could. They could have been just as powerful as the other group. They just had to work harder at it. And the lower level beings that were created decided to revolt and rebel against the higher level beings. And I have no idea if it was the ENK group that was the lower level or the ENL group, but it doesn't really matter. This resulted in war and death, with many rises and falls of civilizations throughout time. And I really hope we can really grasp that concept, and I hope it's starting to make sense that not only was Inky and Enlil two different sets of DNAs and not individual beings, but also that we aren't at war with any outside group or beings from other planets. We are at war with ourselves from the very start, by design. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't any outside manipulation going on, because that's apparent, but it's a test to see if we will go in the direction we've always gone in, and that direction being self-destruction, right? That's on a personal and collective level. They're neither malevolent or benevolent forces. They're neutral, and they've just been taking advantage of the situation. Now, back to what happened after the revolting of the species of the lower class that the Syrians created. When they got that under control, a more hostile group came looking for raw materials. A war broke out, fighting ensued. the hostile group of beings decided to create a fusion bomb, which would kill all the beings on the planet, but not harm the raw materials and minerals. So they detonated the bomb in the upper atmosphere, and it landed in the Pacific Ocean close to America and nearly wiped out every living organism on the planet. And the beings it didn't kill died over time because of the nuclear winter. Some did survive, though, by going underground. This was the event that academia says that killed the dinosaurs by an asteroid, but it wasn't an asteroid. It was actually a fusion nuclear bomb. Few Sirians survived and evolved over thousands of years into what we call reptilians, Earth-based reptilians, that is, and it sent the humanoid species that the Sirians engineered back to before the Stone Ages. The hostile group of beings left the planet and never to return, probably due to radiation. Now we get to the next group of beings that had a hand in our creation and manipulation of our genetics. These group of beings are called the Theologian. They too were interested in raw materials and hydrogen, but more so our DNA, and wanted to accelerate the primitive humanoid beings that survived the nuclear explosion on the planet to develop a slave race of beings to fight wars and fight coming wars. They had very white skin, not acclimated to our sun at all. They had to wear what looked like astronaut suits to block the sun from their eyes and skin, which is depicted in some ancient stonework like these in Egypt, Mexico, and Peru, which also kind of comes to my mind. Do you remember, Wayne, when is completely unrelated, but do you remember when there was this family, I think there might have been in Ireland or Iceland or something like that was taking pictures of their daughter, and when they developed the film, there was an astronaut guy in it. Are you familiar with that story?
I am. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of thought of that looking at these pictures, and then when they developed it, it was they sent the pictures to Kodak, and then Kodak was like, because they were checking it to see if there was any like double exposure on it, and they were like, nah, the pictures are 100% real and legit.
I mean, Gene Roddenberry brought all that out, that, you know, the fact that you think about it, that invisibility, and apparently our military can do it now, it's done by frequency.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good presentation, by the way. Enjoying it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And and also in our in cave drawings from First Nations people, they were drawing the same kind of beings from way back then. So the Elohim have created several versions of humans on the planet. We are currently the seventh breed or generation of humans that's been here throughout time. When we get to a certain level of consciousness, they come and rinse and repeat the cycle. They're responsible for coding the planet in this matrix system that we're in now, which takes time and patience to break out of. Our souls have been fractured and split everywhere, and finding the puzzle pieces is very time consuming. And that's if you can find all the puzzle pieces. Planet Earth has been set up as an experiment, a test, a program. What will happen if these people come together? What if this situation happens? How will you act if this person does this thing or that thing, and so on? So the next thing is, what is a fallen angel? Well, the standard definition of a fallen angel is an angel who rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven. Theologian, when they first created us back in our first generation, they left a group of lower level Elogian beings called Watchers behind to keep an eye on their experiments here on Earth, while they went on to other planets in the galaxy to do the same thing and set up shop elsewhere, thinking that the Watchers would take care of us. And if people are familiar with the story, they know that they didn't take care of us. These Watchers started tampering with us on a soul, spiritual, and consciousness level, conducting horrific science experiments. The giants, chimeras, mermaids, Bigfoots, animal-human hybrids, all of it, any mythological creature that we know of about from ancient history were real and were science experiments to these beings. They turned women into whores, giving children weapons, mating with the women of earth, as also described in the book of Enoch, implanting us with AI. And when the Elohim came back to check up on things here, they were not pleased, to say the least. Not long after the lower level of these beings rebelled, there you go, there's another rebellion. Seems like we're always rebellion. And were ultimately defeated by the Elohim. They placed a trap over the planet, a net, if you will, so that we/them couldn't escape. They saw us as unfit, unruly, easily influenced, with the promises that we would be let go if they did a good job with the experiments here on Earth. But a lot of them got caught up in this plan net and got their soul fractured out many times by the false light trap. They became a product of their own making, confined to human bodies they created themselves. With the planet placed, they would lose more and more of their soul, splitting them off into separate bodies, inhabiting the avatars they indeed helped to create. The Elohim thought that this would be a good form of rehabilitation, but just like how human prisons mostly don't work as a means for rehabilitation on the planet now, the prison planet concept didn't work either, because the majority of them doubled down and turned the planet into a fortress. There are a select few that have seen error in their ways and are wanting to regain their status and join the others, but they are stuck here as well. The Watchers are the fallen that have inhabited human bodies as a form of punishment, unable to escape for their misdeeds as a form of rehabilitation, being recycled through the planet thousands and thousands of times, fracturing out their soul so they can never rise up and realize who they truly are. The Elohim, again, thought this would be a good idea, but little did they know the planet fractured their soul, splitting them into multiple beings simultaneously, mixing them with us, turning us into the fallen. And that's exactly what we are. We are the fallen. We are the fallen angels, all of us. We are the ones that rebelled against God, the Elohim, and as punishment, we're stuck here on this planet, serving out our sentence. Though again, some of us have seen the errors in our ways and are willing to take responsibility and want to try and reclaim our divine right. Now the question then becomes, how do we do that? And which gets us into our next topic, which is initiation and past lives. What is initiation? What does it mean to be initiated? How important is past lives in this equation? Initiation isn't some ritual or something that gets you into a private club or group. The initiation process is you remembering. It's you remembering your past lives, who you are, and what you're here to do, with the ability to integrate them. Initiation is the process, the key to escaping this reality, free from any barriers or limitations. We are not whole, and in order to leave, we have to regain all the parts of our soul that's been fractured out to become one again. And remember, no one is leaving the planet not being complete. Now, not a lot of people can handle it because we've been dumbed down. Our brains are working at a very low capacity to keep us from remembering, because the dark side, the manipulators of our reality, don't want us to escape. They want us here stuck in a never-ending loop. So everything they do, they make sure that we don't remember with distractions, materialism, constantly looking outside of ourselves for solutions to our problems and never taking responsibility. The food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe is suppressing our consciousness and has been poisoned to cut us off from our innate abilities to limit our divine spark. Now, some can break through and are incorruptible. These beings are known as the chosen ones. Now, before people get in an uproar about being chosen, it isn't a title of superiority, making anyone better than anyone else. Being chosen just means that you've been initiated into a higher realm of knowledge, gaining different perspectives, meaning you are here to teach, guide, and most of all, help yourself for the betterment of everyone. Being able to access and integrate all of our past lives to regain all the parts of our soul and consciousness that's been fractured. Realizing the mistakes of our past, healing them to regain the divine spark within each and every one of us. Not everyone's here to do the same things. Everyone's different. That's what makes us special. There's no blanketed system. If there were, then the planet would be a very freaking boring place. Some of us are here just for the experience. Some are here to do nothing of importance. Some have done so much work in past lives that they're here just to chill, watch some Netflix and take a break, eat some strawberries. So don't judge anyone on their journey. That's their journey, and they're responsible for the development of their soul. Some have the divine spark and some don't, which gets us to what is the divine spark? The divine spark is very important because it connects us directly to source. It enables us to travel interdimensionally, have psychic abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, channeling, spiritual downloads, remote viewing, remote healings, out-of-body experiences, all require the divine spark. The divine spark is in virtually everything, in animals, nature, it's all around us. But there's been a concerted effort to rid us and everything around us of this divine spark. The manipulators of our reality want to invert everything to an inorganic system. It's apparent. Look around you. We destroy nature. We harm each other. We fight endless wars. We dump chemical waste into the oceans and rivers. We spray shit in the air. We don't use water from a natural aquifer or wells anymore. We speak to each other through technology, food polluted with GMOs and pesticides. We work in a box, we watch a box, we live our whole lives in a box, literally and metaphorically. Our whole entire reality has become inorganic. This was and is the plan of the dark side, is to invert everyone and everything into an inorganic for the ultimate control. It's how things are controlled. It's created and then it's owned. If I were to create everything you own, then who owns who? If you don't build your house, do you really own it? If you didn't build your car, do you really own it? If you didn't build the things you own, is it really yours? I think that these questions are very important. How do we own anything? How do we own land? Do you own your body? Do you even own your own thoughts? Or is someone else doing your thinking for you? The only way to own something is to create it. You can't create land. You can't create your own body. So from the very jump, we are introduced into a slave system owned by a corporation, and it can all be taken away with a snap of a finger. Now, the only thing that can't be owned is our divine spark. And that divine spark enables us to circumvent the system, unlock our divine right, bring in and integrate all the parts of our souls from past lives, and be whole again. As I stated in the presentation, exiting the simulation, returning to source, the planet trap has been disabled for a period of time, while shifting into this new age gives us an opportunity to escape and new souls to come in our place. The way that we do this is a consciousness transfer of sorts with our past lives and current lives that I spoke about in the second presentation, Attack on the Heart, Fight for Humanity. We bring in as much of them as we can, completing more and more of our soul in the process and becoming whole again. Not just remembering them, but able to integrate them to unlock our 12-strand DNA. Our DNA is activated through specific frequencies. The divine spark can never be eliminated, but it can be shut off in a myriad of ways. The Earth is a very special place in terms that we have many races of beings on it. Other planets only have one race, or possibly in rare cases, 2 or 3. This enables them to work together and come together more easily. We are a melting pot planet, and none of us are from here. And it should be very apparent by how mixed matched we are. This is a part of the program that's been set up here to see if we're going to put our differences aside and come together without intervention, because no good force is going to come and intervene unless we collectively ask them to, other than to stop us from nuclear war. Any other high dimensional being that intervenes without our permission should be, whether it's perceived as good or bad, should be questioned about their motives and agendas. This gets us to our last and final topic. I covered the reason for the lockdowns in the first presentation was to get our consent to stay on the planet, even though the planet trap had been disabled. The testing in the second presentation to get our DNA for an on-world and off-world database, because our timeline is being abandoned and left to our own devices. Now, you already know what this one's going to be, and I'm going to use the word, don't worry, Wayne, which is potion, just so we're all on the same page and that everyone knows what I'm talking about. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about for sure. So the potions are being used to rid us of our divine spark connection, fully locking us into this 3D reality, turning us into inorganic beings, among a bunch of other things, but I'm just talking about the spiritual implications here. Just in case some of us happen to survive the coming cataclysms, natural disasters, food shortages, wars, and collapse of our entire civilization, we can be fully controlled and won't have any connection to source for when the next new age rolls around in 2,000 years or however long it takes for a new age to come back. And the planet trap is lifted again, it'll make it practically impossible for anyone to escape, because we've lost our connection and will be fully engulfed into this program. Each cycle, they get a little bit better at control and manipulation, making us lose more and more parts of ourselves until we basically have no connection at all. This has been the goal from the very start, to rid man of his divine spark and connection back to source, creating a slave race of humans that can be recycled back through again and again without their knowledge. Because without any spiritual connection, you will fall for anything here in this reality and anything on the other side, and they are counting on it. We are special. We are divine. We possess everything we need within us. The storm is upon us. The collapse is coming. It's starting now. Be prepared. Listen with intent. Respond, not react. How we get through these times is completely up to us. How we handle the future dictates everything. Help each other. Do everything you can to solidify a positive outcome, not only for yourself, but for everyone else. Ignite your divine spark and light the flame within your soul. It's not too late. The end.
Excellent. Looks like the spirits. Wow. Give me 1 second here. Lots of activity in this office. Good. So I'm just checking in through the chat room as you were presenting this. A lot of questions. I think the one that I would ask you, so what is the purpose? Is there any hope? I mean, if this is a trap, I mean, it could get very depressing for an individual thinking that, well, if I'm here, whatever I'm supposed to be doing, but if it in the end accounts for nothing, wow. I mean, well, how do you address that? I mean, because is there any hope?
Well, the planet has been disabled. We have the opportunity to escape now, but it's only for a select period of time. And then it comes back up whenever the new age, whenever we get fully engulfed into this new age, it comes back online. And then right now at this very moment, I'm not for sure how long, maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, not 100% sure on it. But now we can basically escape and we have the ability to do that. But whenever it comes back online, everyone's basically stuck here for another 2000 to however long a new age takes. So no, it's not all for nothing. We do have the ability to escape this reality. It just takes a lot of work. And I haven't done the work. I don't know. I'm just really presenting the information as it is. Like, I haven't really done any of that stuff. It's just the information that I have and the information that I received, and I'm putting it out there for anybody that's interested in figuring out how to get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing a good job in laying the foundation. So getting back into the presentation, there were, some things that are becoming much, much more apparent. And that is the fact that virtually, I think I read this statistic, there's nearly 50 billion cameras in the world right now. Unprecedented. We've never at any time that we can remember have had the ability to record everything. And what we're recording now is more and more glitches in the system. Someone sent me a video yesterday. In fact, I saved it. We're going to deal with it on tomorrow because little segue here. This group has been attacked, particularly the women. I don't know if you've caught, any of the videos on that, but we've done some investigation with Paul and Gaia. I'll get into that tomorrow. But my point back to this, I'm getting all the equipment to do what basically would call paranormal investigations.
Yeah, that was a REM pod that you just had there, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And I've got a number of these around here. And it's interesting. It does pick up these electromagnetic fields. My point to all this is in the spirit boxes is that we're getting more and more recordings of the undead, the dead, I don't know, deceased, however you want to talk about a spirit being here, soul, spirit, I don't know. But they are recording that they're trapped. Many say that they are lost. They cannot see how to get out. The frightening thing that I have found, and now this could be a spirit imitating, but children, particularly, stating that they're trapped.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be everybody, but it does seem to be a much larger percentage that we're now picking up. So it's interesting how you say that some seem to find a way out. Others seem to be just simply back into this limbo, this purgatory, so to speak, between the living and the dead.
Yeah, I think that they're stuck in a memory, right? And they don't know how to escape that memory. They're tucked away,
An
and
anagram is what you're saying.
basically, yeah, they're stuck in that that loop, and they don't know where they are. Things are really disorienting because there isn't any reference for anything. They're just kind of stuck in this limbo state, as you just mentioned. And I don't know how they're supposed to do that. It might take to get out. It might take another entity in the astral world going and helping them to escape that memory loop. I mean, that's how I would, because they're obviously stuck. They can't figure out a way to get out of there on their own. So they would need help and assistance from somebody else. So that would take going outside of your body and going into that realm and helping them escape and helping them get out.
A vast majority of us are actually, I'll just put it out how I see it, and I see it all the time. Many of us are strapped to devices. This is just a dream. This is not real. And I keep telling people, you get lulled in by religious dogma that the afterlife is already planned for you, that there is a hierarchical system that you'll become immersed into and a part of. So don't worry about it. The problem is you're strapped to this device and you don't understand they've got devices stuck in us. This is a false memory, folks. All of this is a false memory. Now, I'll go on tomorrow acting like this is just a new day and I'm here to experience more memories. But the fact is that I think many of us are captured and we're strapped to, we've been through this before. And the reason why it's leaking, Ryder, as to what your presentation was saying, because we're remembering this. We're seeing these flame glitches, these images. I don't know.
100%. I mean, that's exactly what's going on, and that's the whole what I was talking about, the chosen ones, right? Like they're again, it's not a title of superiority making anyone better than anyone. It just means that we have a different level of awareness, and if you're chosen, then you can see things from a bunch of different angles and not be locked into any certain belief system or any certain dogma. You can just observe it and take it on and put it in your back pocket. And then if something else comes up, you can connect them together and correlate it and create your own set of beliefs, ideas, and thoughts. Being a free thinker is very important in this reality because they want to lock us in to a blanketed system. They want to get everyone surrounded by the same ideas, thoughts, and beliefs. That's what organized religion was doing from the very start and from the very jump, was getting everybody to believe in the exact same things and pounding it into people's heads over and over and over again through repetition. And then that carries over into the media and propaganda, feeding these the specific thoughts, ideas, and beliefs into someone through an authority figure. That's the way that it works. And that's the way that they've done it for a really long time. And they've just carried it over into different sectors of our lives, hoping that no one's going to correlate it all together and take it back to religion. I was talking on Chris's show the other day. I mean, if you go to the church now, Wayne, if you walked into a church right now, you would be hearing the exact same thing.
They call the cops on me, but anyway, I'm sorry.
They would be preaching about the exact same thing that they've been preaching about for thousands of years. It hasn't changed. It hasn't developed. And where's the expansion in that? How can they be
because you
talking?
know what the message is now? Well, this is a curse. This is God's way to wake up, the world. And my wife and I were talking this morning when we woke up. And I said, but if you take that approach that this is a curse, who the hell wants to be part of this? Who would think of this? I mean, it's just a sick mind to begin with.
100%. And how can you be reading the exact same thing over and over and over again and expecting to get some kind of different results? I mean, that's the definition of insanity, right? Is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, right? And they keep pounding the exact same stories, the exact same thing. And if you ever go outside of that, if you ever study anything else, you ever go into any other kind of religion or read any other kind of material, you're basically ostracized, right? You can't ask the important questions because nobody has the answers in organized religions to the important questions.
They made it illegal to burn you at the stake, but trust me, I've had enough emails that there's more than a couple who would like to put me to the stake. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Listen, I was in a God spell. That's what I call it. For nearly 50 years. And how they get you to read this over and over again is that because God's word it cannot be measured, and you'll get something new out of it every time you read it. Well, that's lunacy, because if that's the case, then you would never have an adult go past kindergarten and reading red book, blue book, that would be the extent, because I'm going to get something new out of red book, green book if I continue to read that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But we translate as adults. And the other trap is you may get out of the religious dogma trap, but I'll guarantee you there are others like politics.
Yeah.
Everybody have to have a position on politics. Why? Politics is just as destructive as any religion. In fact, they're actually, I think, identical twins.
100%. Organized religion and Christianity has overflowed into every single part of our society, whether we recognize it or not. Whether you were raised Christian or raised in any kind of organized
Atheist
religion, like, it still carries over. You still believe certain things because it's been supplanted in the consciousness of the people so deep that they keep reverting back to it over and over and over again. And then the people that are talking about it, whether you believe it or not, it's a self-policing system.
Well, you can have people who've never been in religion, never stepped a day in a church, but they'll tell you to go to hell. Wait a minute. You're not a religion. Why? How? You go, all right. Because why? It's freaking everywhere. Yeah. And happy birthday, Miss Space Cakes. I see that it's your birthday. Anyone else having one out there? But isn't it true? I mean, you can see people all the time go to hell. Well, what church do you go to? I ain't no religion.
I don't believe in God, but you're saying you believe in hell.
All right, I'm totally confused, but that's the idea, is that, like you said, it's so deeply programmed because, in my travels, I have seen myself being ejected out of the inner core, and I'm standing outside looking in. And as I'm looking in, I'm looking to my side, and there's the creator. It's looking in too. So, but it's a scary place out here. Once the safety net is gone, well, then who do you have to rely on? Who are you going to cry out to? I had someone write out, and he said, well, Wayne, when you die, who are you going to cry out to? I said, if I'm crying out to anything, something's seriously wrong. I said, but let's just say that that's the case. I would only be crying out to that which created my consciousness.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, Ryder, I don't. My wife asks me this all the time. She says, so what do you see? You don't see God the way you used to. So what do you see now? I said, it's an interesting thing. I see a blank canvas that's completely filled, but blank at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about last night too. I was like, okay, well, if the ultimate goal is to escape this reality and return back to the creator, right? The source or whatever it is that
Whatever it
you want to
is.
refer to it as, then what's after that? What do you do after that? What do you do when you've combined yourself with the source and the creator God? Like, would you not create another reality or come back in? Right? That's
Why would you want worshipers? Why would a
yeah.
creator want worshipers? And I love what you said. The God of this world, the one that people say that Jesus came from and all that crap. This is the very God who says, I created the evil. And that scripture in Isaiah actually reads it out that he created it for his own pleasure.
Yeah, because he would be bored to death if he didn't. He'd be like, "What am I doing?"
So I'm like the rat. Forget the cheese, man. Just
Yeah,
get me out of the trap.
yeah,
Oh, Ryder,
exactly.
man, the hour's come and gone, buddy. Whoa, you got to come back on. We got to talk more about this because it really gets into this. Here's the frightening aspect of this conversation. I mean, if you take it to as far as you can take it, either one of two things are going on here. We are truly trapped by something that absolutely hates us.
Yeah.
If we're not, then where is the good one? Because it's right. When you pass this life, what to come back in? That's why I don't like reincarnation. It doesn't make sense to me because, be honest with you, I loved my youth. At 18, 20 years old, I was fucking invincible. There was nothing that I was strong. I'm still strong, but I mean, I had the body of, where everyone talks about that. Why can't that be perpetual? Why do I have to go through all these phases and apparently can't remember a damn thing to begin with from the very beginning? So the odds are, if I'm in Vegas, the odds are the good bet is that he's going to screw up again. Ryder, man, I love you, dude.
I love you too, Wayne. Thank you. I appreciate you a lot, my friend. I enjoy all your content, and I'm going to keep watching it. And
well, I people, y'all need to, and everyone knows this. Subscribe, put the alarm button or whatever the hell YouTube calls it. So you get notice of of your shows because your shows are great. Like I said, you and Chris, Matthew, you're pioneers, and I love the fact that you're getting a much more head start than many of us. Many of us had to really shake out the skeletons in the closet, so to speak. The problem, the great thing for you is that you probably have very few skeletons in there. Hopefully one or two, we all have them.
yeah, if we can start working on it whenever we're like have the awareness whenever we're younger, then we won't have to make the same mistakes. And I think that should be the goal of passing knowledge on to other people, right? So that they don't have to make the same mistakes that we made, right? I think that should be the ultimate goal of putting out the information, right? Is to try and help people so that they don't have to go through the same things that we went through, and learning from other people is very important, right? And expanding. I mean, I'm learning stuff every single day. Like I said, I learn something every time I watch one of your videos, Wayne. I appreciate people and the people that are intellectual and have common sense and critical thinking. Like I vibe with them really, really easily. Like we can, me and you, we could probably talk for 2 or 3 hours on
We're going
whatever
to
it is
get
that
the
we want to
band
talk
back
to.
together. That's all I got to tell you. We're going to get the band back together, and we're all going to get into a conference room. I mean, I know that the Comic Cons and what have you, but I'm thinking about one of the old fashioned, just where, you have a lodge and you just come in and you just talk,
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I
Wow,
would
that would be
definitely be
fun.
interested in that.
So subscribe, Raised by Giants. This is the hope, folks. If this extends out beyond our lifetime, Ryder is going to be the one that's going to be here in whatever medium that is. But you'll be the next one that the next generations are going to learn from. And I think you're a great representative, Ryder. Very, very honored to know you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you a lot, Wayne. I appreciate everyone that was watching and everyone that was in the chat. I couldn't see the chat because we were on this interview, but I will go back. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try and respond to them the best of my knowledge. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And I appreciate all of your viewers and all of your watchers, and appreciate and love you a lot, Wayne.
We're a groovy group here, Ryder, and you're part of the family. So, just, it's cool. It's just like, hey, he's coming back for coffee. Would someone put on a fresh pot, or tea? I don't know.
I love tea. Tea's like my favorite.
Yes. It is my favorite. All. Everyone just love it. I'm just leaving in the comments. So thank all of you. Thank you, moderator. Again, Miss Space Cakes, happy birthday to you. We love you all. Check out tonight, the Steiger Perspective for sure, because folks, just check it out. artistfirst.com, 10 p.m. Eastern. Ryder, thank you. Stay with me, everyone. I will see y'all later. Much love to everyone.